So anyways, tonight we're going to start the first in this series called Excel. And guys, what we have to understand is that addictions come in many forms, shapes, sizes, all that kind of stuff. And how many of you know that if one of you guys were addicted to drugs or something like that, don't you know that like we as a staff and as a church, we do everything that we could to help you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like if it's, because the thing is when you're addicted to drugs, when you're addicted to that, it affects every part of your life. It affects relationships. It affects your finances. It affects everything. But what we have to understand is we have to understand money is an addiction to the majority of Americans. Plain and simple. When our founding fathers started this company, their company. United States of America, LLC. When our founding fathers started this country, they said that we have certain inalienable rights, certain things that every person is entitled to. And does anybody know what those are? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yeah. Yes, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that actually came around before the Will Smith movie, Pursuit of Happiness, or whatever that movie was called. But since its founding in 1776, the United States has regarded and promoted itself as an empire of liberty and prosperity, and it's been built on a foundation of faith. The reason that our founding fathers could say that we are a country that believes in liberty and expanding liberty and prosperity is because of our faith, because we knew in whom we have believed. It's no secret that our country was founded on Christian principles. 32 out of the 35 people, the guys that signed the Constitution, were active members of the church. They weren't pew sitters. They didn't just come in and go to service and leave and live however they wanted to. They were actively involved in their church. 32 of the 35. So this is what our country was founded on. And how many of you guys have heard of the statement, the American dream? I'm just out to get the American dream. Anybody? I want to have money, I want to have a good life, I want to be happy, all that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is that money isn't what's going to make us happy. And as we start this Excel series is on excelling at life, but really on excelling when it comes to finances and handling our finances in a godly way, in the way that God wants us to handle our finances. Because if we're honest with ourselves, most of us, including me and my wife, we're not that great at handling money. I mean, we're not. If we look at some of the facts, in the USA Today article that just was released recently, listen to what it says. This is actually kind of interesting. The #1 reason for divorce in America, you know what it is? Money. #1 reason for divorce is money. It brings serious strife to both the husband and the wife, but also the kids. I mean, how many of you guys would say that your parents are struggling financially? Yeah? How many of you would say that affects you as a kid? Because there's a lot of tension in the home when finances aren't there. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, that's just where we're at in life and in the economy and everything that we've got. But what we're dealing with, guys, is the Bible never says that money is the root of all evil. It says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And there's a big difference there. What we face in America is we face something called consumerism. You guys ever heard of the term consumerism? That means we have to have, we want. And I'm going to call out somebody right here, and I hope he doesn't get mad. But my main man, Mike Serino, where you at, Mike? Where is he at? That loser. Okay, good. Then I can talk about him behind his back. It was so funny because how many of you know that the iPad 2 came out today? Okay. Or well, I mean, it's out now. Yeah, it came out a while ago, but it hasn't been out very long. All right. Well, Mike, he had to talk his wife into getting an iPad, the first iPad, and then he got this like really nice case for his iPad. And before service, he was just walking through. He's like, dude, I think if I sell my case and my iPad, I'll have just enough money, that I can probably almost get the iPad 2. Good. I could almost get the iPad 2, almost have enough money to get it, because, I mean, the iPad 2 is like the latest, greatest thing. Computer World said it's the holy grail of computing, the iPad 2. I know, right? Right? But it's like, there's nothing wrong with the iPad 1. But we have to have the iPad 2 because it's the newest, greatest thing. How many of you have been reading the reports that the iPhone 5 is going to be released in June, right? Yeah, come on. How many of you want the iPhone 5, right? Okay, well, there you go. That's the thing is look, I mean, every time something new comes out, how many of you guys know that that the new Call of Duty is in the works, right? Yeah. How many of you got to have the new Call of Duty? Yeah. Yeah. How many of you guys went to the mall this week and you saw a pair of shoes you just had to have? Yeah. Give it up for the guys. Yeah. Ladies, how many of you saw something at the mall this week that you have to have? Right? Yeah. And the only way to get that, because we're not going to steal, the only way to get that is with money. But this right here, what I'm explaining to you guys right now, and all of these little illustrations, all these little things this is all consumerism. That's what it is. It's consumerism. It's the fact that we have to have. You know, and that's what we've kind of turned this American dream into. We think, okay, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That means, and what we've done is we've actually gotten rid of the word pursuit in most of our minds. We believe that we're entitled to life, freedom, and happiness. And if we're not happy, then something's wrong. But that's not what our founding fathers believed in. They believed in the pursuit of it, and they believed in the pursuit of it based on a Christian foundation. And we become a nation of spenders, of consumers versus savers. In fact, we've become a nation of over-consumers. And when I say that, this is what I mean. Is in the late 50s, the average family saved about 8.5% to 9% of their income. So almost 10% of their income. You know, they tied their 10%, and then they'd save 8 or 9%. So most families in America were living probably off 80% of their income. Right now, most people are living off about 120% of their income, which means that they've actually financed more than what they can afford. You know, all these homes and everything that we see that are for sale, you know, and you keep hearing these terms about foreclosures, which means that the bank has actually taken over the home, has kicked the people out of their home, and the bank has taken over and trying to sell it and trying to make money and all this kind of stuff. The reason we did this was because you had people who were actually taking out loans for over the entire value of their house. So say a house was valued at $100,000, people would take out a loan for $100,000 or even $120,000, and they'd spend all that, and then you have all these finance charges and interest. How many of you guys know what interest is? Interest is where something should cost you $10, but because you decide to make payments on it, it ends up costing you like $18, $19. That's what interest is. They charge a percentage for every month that you're having to pay that off. Excuse me. There was actually a story when all of this hit the fan about all the foreclosures and everything. There was a couple, and they were both managers at a Burger King. Okay? Nothing wrong with Burger King. I love me a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant in the morning. Okay? But they were managers at Burger King, and they went out and they were living in a $400,000 house. They had financed a $400,000 house. They couldn't afford that. And then whenever the market started caving in and the economic times have come in like they are, what happens? They have to get rid of their house because they can't afford it, because they don't make enough. And so what this whole series is about is trying to kind of, as a church, because as pastors, you know, we believe in the families that go to this church. We believe in your parents that attend here. I believe in you guys, and I want you guys to understand this whole concept of finances and giving and tithing and all that kind of stuff, because the Bible's very clear. You know, there's more verses on money in the Bible than there are any other subject. There's more talk about money in the Bible than any other subject. But, you know, the key is to determine where you are and in life. And through this Excel series, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about kind of a ladder. You know, and we're going to be talking about taking steps on the ladder. And the first step on the ladder that we need to talk about tonight is where our money comes from. The number one principle that needs to be discovered before you can even get on the ladder is that God owns it all. Look at your neighbor and say, God owns it. You see, He is the source, He is the owner, and we are called that we are stewards and not owners. You know, that's one of those things that we have to get in our heads, guys, and as teenagers, you've really got to get this now. Because I'm telling you, if you pay attention to the news at all, we're living in very, very scary times. There's this thing that they talk about on the news called futures, you know, and what that is that's a projection of where prices are going to go for any certain thing. Food prices are already 150% higher in the futures. That means that All the people that know this stuff, they're saying that food prices are already starting to increase. So if you're going to go out and you think you're going to buy milk for $3 a gallon, it's going to cost you like $7.50 a gallon, because the prices are going up because of this thing called inflation. And look, I don't expect you guys to understand all this. I just expect you guys to realize that the times that you're in is very, very serious and dire times. How many of you guys have heard adults and heard on the news about a thing called Social Security? You guys know what I'm talking about? Social Security? It was this great ingenious plan that as you work, the government's going to take money out of your paycheck and put it in this big whole fund called Social Security, and it was going to help you once you get to a certain age, and for all of your adult diapers and whatever else you had going on. Whatever. The fact is that Social Security is like, almost bankrupt. Like I'm not planning on being able to have any Social Security. I'm paying into it right now. I still have to pay into it, but it's not going to be there for me. And what we have to understand is that we can't live this life and we can't approach money and finances through the lens of the world that we live in. Here's a statistic that you guys that will probably surprise you. If you make $2, if you live off more than $2 a day, worldwide you're considered rich. Now, where's Mason at? Oh, there he is. Your dad told me that today you spent $8 at Chick-fil-A. Well, he spent $8 on you at Chick-fil-A. Well, whatever. McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. It was $8. Okay? That's considered rich for 4 days in the entire world. I mean, think about that. $2. The majority of the world, if I'm not mistaken, I'm wanting to say it's upwards like 79, 80% of the world lives on less than $2 a day. Less than $14 a week. Think about that. Some of you are going to go to Law Knot tonight and you're going to spend like $40. I don't know. Some of us are pretty big boys, Molly. I'm just saying. But this is the world that we're living in.